Alright, so this is going to be part 2 to what if Yuno and Asta were adopted by Mereoleona. So in the last part, we just got done, or we just left off at a point where Asta has to make a decision whether to go with the Black Bulls or with the Crimson Lions. And I made a poll on the last video, whether or not he should go to both, or whether or not to go to either, and the poll was very close. It was nearly a 50-50 split, with only a few points difference. And what you guys chose was the Crimson Lion Kings. So with this, it's going to be a bit harder to do the story since everything focuses around the Black Bulls, as well as us not really knowing much about the other squads, maybe the exception being the Golden Dawn. Even then, we only know a few members. So I have to kind of make the own kind of squad, not really squad, but you know what I mean, like the team that goes on most of the basically missions, like how they have at the beginning with Asta, Noel, and Magna. I kind of have to do the same with the Crimson Lion Kings. So yeah, so Asta is still in front of everyone, and he has to make a decision after showing everyone his family crest, that being that of the Vermilion household, I guess. So he chooses the Crimson Lions, and this is where Yami's like, really? You're gonna pick that guy over us, the Black Bulls? Well, I don't blame you. We are considered the worst. But man, that still sucks. Hey Finral, let's get out of here. And this is where Finral would open up. Well, I guess not yet. He would still have to go through the other contestants to see if he would want them. But it doesn't seem like Yami really wants any other person there. So he doesn't really go for anyone, really. And he does have one new member, and that is still Noel. So Asta would go with the Crimson Lions with Fragolion, and this is where Fragolion asks Asta how was it being raised by his sister, because he knows his sister was very, well, kind of ruthless in a way. Also, people wanted Asta to have a crush on Mereoleona, which I don't know how to feel about that, because she has been raising them since they were literal babies, unlike Sister Lily, who came at an older age. I believe he was like around 10 or something like that. So it is a little bit strange. Not only that, but the age difference is a lot higher. I believe that Sister Lily was like in her early 20s, something like that. And Asta right now is 15, while Mereoleona is like 30 something. So she's literally double his age. So I don't think that's a really good idea. But anyways, to get back on topic, Asta would tell him that that Mereoleona was very ruthless growing up, but she still cared for them, even though she had no real obligation to. She would have told them the story and how she got them and really everything like that. And this is where Fragolion would ask Asta what his magic was, and Asta would say that he has no magic. And Fragolion would be like, how is that possible? I saw you pull out those swords. And this is where Asta would explain that he has something different. He has anti-magic, and he's been training with Mereoleona to kind of perfect, or not really perfect, but train his form, which is the black form. And this is where Fragolion gets the idea, like, so that's why Yami wanted him. He saw what he could do, so he acknowledges that Yami knew about Yami had better foresight, you could say, about Asta. So he tells him, like, so you have anti-magic, it can nullify spells, right? And Asta said yes, anything he really touches that is magic, gets nullified. So he tests it out. He shoots a fireball, and Asta's actually able to reflect it back at him. And Fragolion says, well, Asta, I am your uncle, as you could probably assume, since I am a Vermilion just like you. And Asta wasn't really knowing how to expect, or didn't expect them to say that, right? He didn't expect them to call him a Vermilion like he was. And this is where Fergolion says, you are getting stronger, right? But it's okay to be weak. You just have to keep on trying to get stronger like you are now. And why is it that you joined the Magic Knights? It's not like Mereoleona wanted to. My sister never wanted to be in the Magic Knights. And this is where Asta would tell him about how he wants to be the Wizard King and that he wants equality. And this is where Fergolion would kind of laugh. So you want to be the Wizard King. The kid with no magic wants to be the Wizard King. And Asta's like, yeah, I don't care if I don't have magic. I have my own grimoire, but I think I could still make it. And this is where Fergolion tells Asta, do you know what this mark means on my forehead? And that's where that kind of like diamond is. It means I made a promise to myself that I would become the Wizard King too. So you and I are rivals. And Asta would be like, well, thank you, or something to that effect. He is very honored to be acknowledged by Fergolion in this kind of way. And this is where, because Asta didn't have any magic, he has to rely on people for transport, right? At least at this point. So he would be riding with Fergolion as they're kind of talking about this, because from what we know, there isn't really a spatial mage in Fergolion's squad, so they would have to go by Broom. Not only that, but it's not like it's gonna be that big of a, or that long of a wait, since it does seem like their base is close to the capital anyways, since they are royalty, and it would make the most sense. So when they get to the base, this is where Fergolion would get everyone, get everyone's attention and have them acknowledge the new recruit or the rookie, and that's Asta. So this is where Fergolion would tell or call for Leopold, which also Leo, right? His younger brother. And he says, Leopold, I want you to meet Asta. He is, well, our nephew. By name, I guess. Or because he is Mereoleona's, or your older sister's, adopted son. And this is where Asta would be thankful, or would really want to see more of his family. So he would say, oh hey, Leo, is it? I'm your nephew. Leopold wouldn't really know what to say. Hey Asta, I don't, you don't have to call me uncle. I am, we are the same age. We could just think like we're kind of like cousins. And Asta would be like, well, that's fine by me. And this is where Leopold would also get excited a bit. So Asta, what's your magic? What can you do? You obviously impressed my older brother. You should be able to do something amazing. But this is where Leopold also notices that he doesn't sense any magic off of Asta. And he is rather confused by this. And Asta tells him that he doesn't have magic, but instead has something called anti-magic. With his swords, he's able to nullify any spell. And this is where Leopold says, any spell you say? How about we go outside and test that theory of yours? And Asta's like, alright, let's go for it. And they're both outside. And this is where Leopold would use one of his more powerful spells. And Fergolion is somewhat concerned by this. And he says, Leopold, what are you doing? Once Leo and Asta were far enough apart, this is where Leo would use one of his spells, that being Spiral Frames, the kind of spell that you'd see in almost every time he attacked. This would cause Asta to use his sword, which would cut through the spell, kind of dispersing it. Unlike Magna's kind of attack, where he actually, if Asta were to kind of hit it, it would just split apart and hit him still. Because this is more of a beam attack and things like that, it wouldn't really do what Magna's attack would have. So he's able to slice it pretty easily. And this is where he gains Leo's respect. Wow, that's such a, like powerful attack, or powerful, power. You get to nullify any spell you want. And this is where Asta was like, yeah, it is pretty nice, right? And Asta's getting a bit confident, and Leopold would ask him the same thing that Mereoleona would have asked, and that is why he joined the Magic Knights when Mereoleona did not want to. And he gives him the same explanation. And this is where he does basically the same thing, calling Asta his rival, and that he's gonna beat him. He's not gonna get stronger than him. And Asta does the same thing to him, kind of feeding into that rivalry. And this is where Asta gets to meet the rest of the squad. And I won't say too many of their names because they really aren't relevant, at least for now. And yeah, so a few days, or this is where Asta would actually get his Magic Knight robe. Since he is in the Crimson Lion, he does get that kind of red kind of robe that he gets, that you see with the other knights there. But it does have a different design than that of the Black Bulls. If you haven't seen it, just kind of look it up, I guess. So let's talk about what would happen with the Black Bulls now, since Asta isn't there. So Noelle would still be kind of thinking of quitting, because how she can't really control her magic and things like that, and not really wanting to be in the Black Bulls to begin with. She wanted to be in her own squad, right? That being the Silver Eagles, but not being able to because she can't control her magic. She would still have that kind of interaction with Magna, but not to the same extent, as well as not really at the same time, because he wouldn't be showing Asta around. So we would cut back to the morning, where she would still be practicing, and eventually she would lose control of her magic, where Yami and the rest of the Black Bulls would have to go and save her. I think Yami would have been able to use a black hole, one of his spells, to to suck the kind of magic, or basically suck the water that was there, and being able to use either Vanessa or Finral to really get Noelle out of that situation. So Noelle would have still had a kind of happy ending with the Black Bulls. That's because even without Asta being there, they would have been supportive of her, and she would have appreciated that very much so, since of her kind of upbringing with her family not really liking her and almost disowning her. So we would get to the Saucy Village kind of attack. Instead of bringing Asta, I believe they would have brought either not really Finral, but they would have brought Luck, or even Yami himself. But it is questionable if Yami would even go, since, like he said before, he doesn't want to clean up his own mess. So it's most likely they would have brought Luck with them, and with Luck's really enhanced magic sensing, they would have been easily able to find their way through the fog, as well as fight off the mages there, because Luck is a lot stronger than Magna, and his magic would have been better, I would say, to go against someone like the ice mage there and some of the others. Even though it is electricity and not fire like Magna's, he still has a lot more magic, as well as being able to be very fast. So they really have no problem with that, as well as Noelle being able to really create or get that new spell. So everything really basically still goes as planned. Even without Asta there, it just goes a little bit more, it's a little bit more harder for them on their side. So yeah, as for the first mission that Asta would do with his new squad being the Crimson Lion Kings, he would probably start off small with a couple of patrols around the capital and stopping a bug here or two. Not really anything major at this point, since they wouldn't really be in the way of the basically the Midnight Sun just yet, but he will go to the dungeon because of how the Wizard King viewed Asta and Yuno, so they're still gonna go there, as well as Asta really talking about Yuno, his brother. He would tell him, Mereoleona and Leopold about about him and about Mereoleona during those kind of 15 years, so they would get a better understanding and really come to see Asta as family, and really wanting to meet Yuno as well. So yeah, this is where I'm gonna end the video. The next part is gonna be, about the dungeon and things like that. So if you haven't noticed already, I changed my profile picture to that of Mereoleona. I really like the character, and I really wanted to draw her. I think I really captured the Black Bull or the Black Clover kind of art style, at least as much as I could. And if you like it, go tell me down below what you think of it. And if you made it to the end of the video, make sure to comment down CS. If you want more of this series, give it a like. And if you want to see more of my content, please subscribe. And with that being said, it's gonna be the video. So yeah.